According to YouTube analytics, a lot of you guys are out here looking for some building tips. I build random stuff pretty often on this channel, so I know just how to help. Let's get to it. First up is honestly the one tool I use the most, outside of Ultrahand, and that is my auto build list. The idea is to save different pieces that you use often in your builds to the auto build list. For example, this pulse laser. I went over how to make it before, but since then, I've had this simple creation saved to my auto build list. It's a time saver. Every time I want to slap pulse lasers on a device, I just pull out my parts and auto build it. Then stick it on whatever creation I need it for at the moment. Obviously, your most used parts are bound to be different. However, another piece that I use kinda often is this rail, which I secured from the underground right leg depot. Since then, I've never been back to grab another rail. Anytime I want to use this material in any of my builds, I simply pull it out of my auto build list. So yeah, start using your auto build list more. It's possibly the most helpful tip you might take away from this video.
Outstanding!
Let's say you just spent a ton of time building some elaborate mech device, and it was working a little bit ago. However, out of nowhere, it just won't work anymore. I've been here, and it's a very annoying problem to have. However, there is a simple fix that works more times than it doesn't, and that is to go into your auto build list, check your recent history, and simply rebuild whatever you're working on. Sometimes the connection between your pieces just need to be reset for whatever reason. Doing this instead of tearing whole creations apart has saved me so much time during the building process. So I would definitely give this a try, especially before you rebuild that mech that took you 30 minutes to get working. Next up, we're going to cover some of your more obscure building materials. What I mean by that is there are plenty of shrines that you can enter and grab useful pieces from. For example, this shrine right here, located next to your base, has a very useful wind turbine inside. Now, there are multiple ways to smuggle this turbine out of the shrine. One way is you attach the different pieces you want to your shield. Then simply visit our guy here in Terrytown and have him separate the pieces for you. Another way is by having 2 or more pieces connected together. It will now be accessible in your auto build list. You may not be able to view it while in the shrine, but believe me, it's there. Which means you can favorite that creation and always rebuild it later on. I personally use this turbine and huge fan in a bunch of different creations, so they're extremely valuable building materials that I would recommend getting your hands on. However, these aren't the only things you can salvage, so keep an eye out next time you're in a shrine, because you might just find a valuable building piece that you didn't even know existed. Now this tip is one that I use very often. That is to just mess around. Stick all kinds of things together, then activate the device. Sometimes you'll find that certain objects interact with each other in very weird and obscure ways, which can lead to some wild creations later on down the road. One time, I tried to make a car without any wheel materials. Well, simply using this rail with some stabilizers helped me find out I can have a weird hopping device. That doesn't technically drive per se, but if I wasn't messing around with how these devices work together, I wouldn't have realized the potential that stabilizers placed at different angles has to offer. So always place as many objects as you can together, and you might just find some new interaction to go have fun with. If you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up. and consider subscribing. Also, leave a comment, cause I respond to those pretty often. And as always, I'll catch you next time.